I had a pretty normal childhood growing up on a farm, running around, playing, making forts, normal things kids do, except for one thing. When I was 8 years old, my mother was diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. It's a terminal disease. She passed away when I was 13, and I had to do things that normal children didn't do. Push her in a wheelchair, feed her, help move her. So through that experience, it was definitely difficult for me, and my outlet became sports. My school only offered 3 sports: basketball, soccer, and baseball. I definitely enjoyed those sports, but I wouldn't say I completely loved the sports. And then one of my buddies said, "Have you heard about cross country?" I'm like, "What is it?" "You run through the woods trying to beat people." And I'm like, "Well, that sounds like a good challenge to me." So what I did is merge with another school, which was 15 miles away, and commuted with a couple of buddies, and I completely fell in love with it. I could run with my heart, and not only that, but I would 100% to the end, and often you would find me passing out at the end because I would push so hard. And a couple of my high school buddies that I ran track and cross country with, we heard about this event called Ironman Lake Placid. It was a couple of ways away from us. So we all decided to hop in my van, drive down, sleep in the vehicle, wake up the next morning, and volunteer the whole day. I was really just in awe with what they did. It's a one-day event. If you're not familiar with what an Ironman is, it's a triathlon, a swim, bike, and run. You swim for 2.4 miles, you get out of the water, you bike for 112 miles, and then you get off and then you run a full marathon, which is 26.2 miles. Just doing that, the one-day event, it's the most hardest one-day endurance event in the world. And like I said, I was in awe with these athletes, finishing anywhere from the fastest 8 hours, and the time limit was 17 hours. So after high school, I ended up going to college, went to school at the University of New Hampshire. Kind of did my own thing. I really wanted to do an Ironman one day because I just thought it was amazing. So I joined the swim team. Never really swam much before, and I tried. Unfortunately, it was more like progressive drowning. From there, I did my first ever marathon in college, ended up running a 2:46 marathon. I was over the moon with that. I joined the cycling team. I enjoyed that and I excelled really well. The only thing I didn't enjoy was the crashes. And then I did join the track and field team, went on as a walk-on, worked really hard. Ended up being the top guy on the team and ended up getting a partial scholarship. I ran the steeplechase, was New England champion. I ran a 5K, 3.1 miles, and 14:46. So I had some talent, but I knew I would never race professionally in running because my best friend who I went to high school with, he really set the bar, and he ended up getting a full-ride scholarship at Stanford University. After college, I ended up moving out to Boulder, Colorado, and started working as an occupational therapist. That's what I got my degree in, my master's degree in at University of New Hampshire. And I did that for a couple of years. Then I started combining running and cycling. It's called duathlon, kind of like triathlon, but it was run, bike, run. And I did pretty well with that. I won a couple of national titles. And I started excelling really well, ended up racing in multiple world championships, went to Italy, Scotland, Spain, Switzerland. I enjoyed it, but I still wanted to do a triathlon, but I still couldn't swim. So I actually ended up taking a leave of absence from my job. I moved back home, northern New York, with my dad. One of my friends was patient with me and helped me learn how to swim. I was very grateful for that. And I was like, if I can get the swim down, who knows, maybe I could race professionally in triathlon. So my first triathlon ended up being Florida 70.3, and it's a half Ironman, not the full Ironman like I described, Ironman Lake Placid. It's half that distance. I ended up doing the swim, the bike, and the run, and was good enough to qualify for my professional license. So my next race was Ironman Lake Placid, back close to my hometown. And I was really excited about it because I was going to have one of my dreams come true. And the day went off pretty well. My first full Ironman, my first professional race. I was the last professional out of the water, but I made it. And then onto the bike and onto the run. And I ended up finishing in a time of 9 hours and 28 minutes. And I was over the moon there. So from there, I ended up working hard, doing more and more triathlons. I was training 35 hours a week with swim, bike, and run. I ended up going to the big dance, they call it, Ironman World Championships. And that is in the big island of Hawaii in October. It happens every year. They take the 50 fastest professional men, 50 fastest professional women to compete there. In 2016, I think that's my fourth time, I ended up finishing 12th in the world, and I was really happy with that, and I had another goal and challenge to finish top 10 in the world. Well, the next year, in 2017, I got out of the water in a pretty good spot. I got onto the bike, and also in a pretty good spot, rolling pretty well, on task to finish top 10 in the world. Then at mile 95, an official directed a vehicle out in front of me, and I was in the bike aero position riding 35 miles per hour. I went head first through the side of the window of the vehicle. I went in, I severed my external jugular, and at that point, it wasn't about finishing the race, it was about surviving. Thankfully, there was an anesthesiologist doctor there just spectating. He applied the right amount of pressure, right around the right amount of pressure on my neck, too much, too little. I could bleed to death. But I was very grateful, right time, right place, with the doctor being there. And then I woke up in the hospital, and in the hospital, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, who won the race? Where am I? What's going on? I asked that same question for hours and hours and hours. That could have been me the rest of my life. The fact that I'm here, standing, moving my body, is just a blessing itself. So when I ended up going back home, for multiple months, I was pulling pieces of glass out of my neck. I had a choice. I could keep racing triathlons, or I could hang it up. And I don't think anyone would have doubted me to hang it up. I decided that, I still want to follow a dream. So what I ended up doing is I was supportive, some people behind me, and my first run back, I was pushing my son in my stroller, and the tears were rolling down my face. And then I had some setbacks. My neck was bothering me and other things, but I still was persistent and kept on pushing on. Ended up getting on the podium in a few races, was excited about that, moving forward. And then I made it back to Ironman World Championships. Just being at the starting line was a victory to me. Even if I finished, it was going to be a huge victory for me. And then I had a pretty good day, got out of the water in a good spot, got off the bike, ended up in about 20th place, running, and I'm just catching people along the way, just focusing on the next task. So I ended up finishing top 10 in the world, 6th place, and it was actually the 3rd fastest American time of all time. So what did I do to get there? Gratitude, rewiring your perspective, your mindset. What I did every morning, I ended up writing 3 things I was grateful for. A lot of times we focus on the bad things and we don't realize what's great in our life. So just writing down something simple as like, I'm grateful for clean drinking water this morning. And there's actually a randomized control study of 6,745 participants, and they focused on gratitude with journaling, and they increased their positive mindset by 60%. So just think to yourself, if you could increase your positive mindset by 60%, it just changes your whole mindset to put you in the right frame of mind of what you want to accomplish. Secondly, meditation and breath work every single day, right around, typically in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. Whenever I was feeling a little bit stressed out, there's so much chaos going on in our life, and there's things that we can't control. Whenever I did meditation and breath work, laid down on the ground for 15 minutes, it would change my perspective and also regulate my nervous system. It would give me peace and control. And that's one thing I still do to this day. And lastly, third, building confidence through action. None of us are born with confidence. It's one of those things that we end up, that I had to work on personally, and setting goals and having challenges and chasing after those and accomplishing those gave me the validation that, hey, I can do this. And it made me believe so much more than I thought I could. So with all of this, we will all have setbacks in life. And it might not look like mine with getting in a bike accident from a car, but we all share something in common. We all are faced with adversity. And from all this is what I've learned. When we have hard times, focus on gratitude. Focus on the things that you can control. Focus on trusting in yourself. Because if we believe in ourselves, you might be surprised at how strong we really are.